Lion. The lion that didn't know it was a lion. Ancient instinct. Last weekend, we took our toddler to Lion Country Safari in Florida. One of the slow, meandering days where you think you're doing a wholesome family activity, but the universe slips a mirror in front of you and says, pay attention. We saw everything: rhinos with prehistoric patience, chimpanzees with true human expressions, giraffes unfolding themselves like living origami. But the zebras stopped me cold. They were mesmerizing. Sleek and smooth, those black stripes weren't just beautiful, it was strategic. We started thinking about how zebras survive. When threatened, they move together, a living optical illusion. The stripes blur, the predator cannot tell where one body ends and where another begins. Confusion becomes protection. What never fails to amaze me is that no one teaches them this. There is no zebra leadership seminar, no evolutionary PowerPoint. They just know intuitively something ancient and intelligent inside them says, move together. This keeps you alive. Same with antelopes. Those sharp horns aren't decorative, they're declaration. Nature didn't make them polite, it made them prepared. And here's the wild part: all these animals came to feed when the lions were sleeping. That's ancient instinct humming along, a calculated animal clock, even though the lions were in a separated cage territory. The known trap. Then we went to see the lions. They were magnificent, heavy with presence. One lion in particular caught my attention. I stood there longer than I meant to, watched him pace back and forth, inside a gated field that felt far too small for the energy he carried. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't calm, he was agitated, and I felt it in my bones. This was the king of jungle, built to hunt, designed for pursuit, adrenaline, strategy, muscles meant to sprint, senses engineered to detect the slightest shift in the air, a body that knows it must earn its meal before it tastes it. But here food arrived on schedule: breakfast, lunch, no chase, no effort, no triumph. Instinctively he knew something was off. He had all the energy and nowhere to put it, all these gifts with no arena. So he paced back and forth, knowing he was meant for something but unable to name it because he had never been shown the environment that would awaken it. He was born a lion, raised like a house cat. Here's the part that really messed with me. I knew what the goddamn lion was capable of. I could see it clearly as an outsider. I knew he was meant to run miles across open land, to hunt, to lead a kingdom, to be exactly what nature designed him to be. And yet, he didn't know, and I didn't have the language to explain it to him. Sometimes others can see your potential long before you can, but not because they're smarter, but because they aren't confined by the environment that taught us who we are allowed to be. And suddenly it hit me. That's the feeling I have been carrying. The restless anxiety that doesn't come from a lack of gratitude, the feeling of having food on your plate, stability in your life, but still sensing that something essential is missing. Like you are tolerating a version of life you weren't designed to settle into. I feel like that lion sometimes, doing what I can within the environment I'm in: responsibility, showing up, surviving, but also pacing internally, knowing deep down that this isn't all there is, that I wasn't born to tolerate and survive. I need to thrive. That there are instinct inside me I haven't flexed yet, capacities I can feel but can't fully access, talents so native I don't even recognize them as special, the way the lion doesn't know his strength is extraordinary. The known unknown. So what do you do with that lion like that? You can't drop him in an African savanna overnight. He wouldn't survive. He doesn't know how to yet. But you could give him a taste. You could let him run just a little. Let him feel his body work the way it's designed to. Let instinct wake up muscle by muscle, memory by memory, until one day something clicks and he remembers, I am not a pet. I am the king of the jungle. That's what we get to do for ourselves. If you feel like you're pacing internally, restless, anxious, vaguely dissatisfied, without being able to articulate why, it doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It means you remember something about yourself, even if you can't fully access it yet. You don't have to leap straight into your version of Savannah. You don't have to blow up your life overnight, but you do have to expose yourself slowly and intentionally to the things that wake you up, one thing at a time. The conversation that energizes you, the work that feels like oxygen, the risk that scares you in a familiar way, the feedback from the world that sounds oddly recognizable, like it's naming something you have always known but never claimed. The world has a language for explaining who you are. Might not be the same language you understand, but it presents it to you in different ways with different events. Events that are opportunities to test how strong you are, to test your limits and potentials. There will be billion opinions. Ignore most of them. Trust the one that feels like home. The ones that light a fire instead of numbing it, the ones that remind you of gifts you were born with, not skills you had earned, the one that makes you feel alive. The lion doesn't get that choice, but you do. The unknown infinite potential. The lion is not missing courage. The lion is missing resistance that matches his capacity. That's it. Appropriate resistance. When resistance is too low, instinct atrophies. When resistance is too high, instinct shuts down. But when resistance is just enough, instinct wakes up and says, there you are. That's why the pacing hurts. It's not confusion, it's unused strength looking to expand. And that's what I've been missing too. Not clarity or permission. I have been living in an environment that is too small for the parts of me that wants to stretch, strain, test, lead, create, decide, risk. An environment that keeps me safe but never asks me to earn anything with my full nervous system engaged. That's why the anxiety doesn't go away with gratitude. That's why it's hard to tolerate unfairness and stay put because the world says so. That's why staying safe with the known feels so deeply suffocating. That's why I feel like I'm supposed to do something but can't name what. Because instinct doesn't speak in nouns, it speaks in pressure. The lion doesn't miss hunting because hunting is an idea. He misses the moment his body meets resistance and knows exactly what to do. And I don't need a dramatic escape. I just need to not settle for the known, to think and feel deeply, to decide to push the line, to be respected, to put something in front of me, in front of the world, and let it be shaped by response. Even if I fall on my face, I can learn and try again. That's the open field I vaguely remember, not a place, a state. So the answer isn't to blow everything up. It's not to stay still and wait for clarity either. The answer is to deliberately place myself where I can test my limits, have faith in my effort, where I am loved, appreciated, and wanted, not just tolerated, where feedback and understanding exist, where there is room for improvement and acceptance, where my instincts have consequences. That's how the lion remembers. That's how I will too. Not being told who I am or who I'm supposed to be, but by meeting resistance that fuels my growth, belonging, and love. Takeaways. Restlessness is often unexpressed potential, not failure or ingratitude. Being fed and safe doesn't erase the instinct to become what you are designed to be. You don't need a drastic leap. You need exposure to infinite possibilities and limitless light. Start small, honest test of your instinct. Others might see your capabilities before you do. Listen for what resonates, not what pressures. Do something about the fire inside you. Pacing is a signal, not a flaw. If you feel restless, anxious, or vaguely trapped while your life looks fine from the outside but killing you inside, you're not lost. And the cure is not waiting for more clarity. It's exposure to the right kind of light. That's where the memory returns. This is Maisha Taranam. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast.